Hi, good morning. Today we are going to discuss next section of our ninth chapter, the Banach open mapping theorem. This is very important. Now, what is the statement of Banach open mapping theorem? Let x and y be Banach space. Let A from x to y be a bounded linear operator from operator on to y. Okay. uh, A is a map from x to y and given A is a bounded linear operator on to y. Then A is an open map. Then the theorem says that then A is an open map. That is for every O subset of x, the image AO is an open subset of y. Okay. Now once again, I am repeating the statement. Let x and y be Banach space. A from x to y be a bounded linear operator from x on to y. Okay. Then A is an open map. Now, the meaning of A is an open map means if O is a subset of X is an open set, then AO is an open subset of Y. So, moving to the proof. Let D be an open ball around 0. And we have to prove that A, okay, here we have to prove that if O is a subset of X, then AO is an open subset of Y. Here, if D is an open ball around 0, and we have to prove that AD is an open ball. Okay, open set. Now, to prove AD is an open set, what we have to prove? Every point is an interior point. Okay. Now let D be an open ball around 0. Then the result says that clearly D is a perfectly convex set. How? Suppose D is equal to this one and xi be a boundary sequence in D and alpha I greater than or equal to 0 be real such that this is equal to 1. Now note that mod xi less than r for every I. Then if suppose some alpha k equal to 1, then all other alpha is equal to 0. Therefore, sigma alpha I xi is equal to xk because alpha k equal 1, all other xi is 0. And clearly xk belongs to D and norm of this equal to norm of xk and this is clearly less than r. Therefore, sigma I equal to 1 to infinity alpha I xi belongs to D. Okay. So in that case, we get the result and suppose alpha I less than 1 for every I, then what we get, this is equal to, this is less than or equal to this one and which is less than or equal to this one, mod alpha I, norm of, here this is actually norm mod alpha I and mod alpha I is alpha I because alpha I greater than 0 into norm of xi and alpha I norm of xi less than r, therefore this is strictly less than r and this is equal to sigma I equal to 1 to infinity alpha I and that's equal to 1, therefore this is equal to r. Therefore this is less than r, this implies actually modulus of this is less than r, therefore sigma I equal to 1 to infinity xi alpha I xi belongs to D. This implies D is perfectly convex. Now, since the operator A is continuous, we get uh, F equal to AD is also perfectly convex. We get D is perfectly convex, and here we are going to prove is next is AD is perfectly convex. So for this, let YI be a bounded sequence in AD and alpha I be such that al sigma alpha I equal to 1. As YI is a bounded sequence in AD, we get a sequence XI in D such that AXI equal to YI. Now sigma I equal to 1 to infinity alpha I YI equal to sigma I equal to 1 to infinity alpha I AXI and that's equal to A of sigma I equal to 1 to infinity alpha I XI. And since A is continuous, this sigma alpha I xi belongs to D implies we get since A this clearly A of something belongs to AD. Since this uh, sigma I equal to 1 to infinity alpha xi belongs to D, this implies this term completely belongs to AD. Okay. That means what we get is this is what is this one? This is actually A of this one and this is actually sigma alpha I y. So sigma alpha I ya belongs to AD for boundary sequence ya. Therefore, what we get is AD is perfectly convex. Now the next is we are going to prove is F is coincide with its kernel. What is F? F is what is F? F is AD. Now let Z belongs to F and we have to prove F is equal to FC. Then there exists a Z belongs to F, then there exists a W belongs to D such that AW equal to Z and we will prove Z belongs to FC. Okay, take any Y belongs to Y. Since A is onto there exists a X belongs to X such that AX equal to Y. Since W belongs to D and D C equal to D because D is an open. So therefore DC is equal to D. There exists a alpha greater than 0 such that 0 less than or equal to lambda less than or equal to alpha. We have lambda x plus 1 minus lambda W belongs to D. Applying A we get this one and lambda y ax means y plus 1 minus lambda z belongs to F for all 0 less than or equal to lambda less than or equal to alpha. This implies Z belongs to FC. Okay, so we have F is contained in FC, also FC contained in F. We know that FC, we have already FC contained in F. Therefore, finally we get F equal to FC. Therefore, our claim is proved. And by theorem 9.13, we get F0 equal to Fc equal to like this. So here Fc equal to F, therefore F0 equal to F. F interior means it's an open set, therefore F is also open. Okay. Therefore, we get F is open. So now we are going to prove our result. Let O be an open set in X. Let Y belongs to AO. But we have to prove. We assume that O is an open set in X. And let Y belongs to AO. We have to prove Y is an interior point. So as Y belongs to AO, we get Y equal to AX and X belongs to dx epsilon which is contained in O because O is an open set. Now where d epsilon x epsilon is an open ball radius epsilon greater than 0 centered at x. Now note that a dx epsilon minus ax is equal to a d 0 epsilon. Okay. This is the term containing a dx epsilon minus ax and this is same as a d 0 epsilon. Therefore, ax is an interior point of an interior point of a dx epsilon and hence y is an interior point of AO. Therefore, AO is open. Now moving to the proof, let W belongs to a dx epsilon minus ax. This implies there exists a set belongs to d epsilon such that W equal to a set minus ax, that is a of set minus x. Since set belongs to d x epsilon, we have norm of z minus x less than epsilon. That means z minus x belongs to d 0 epsilon. That means a of z minus x belongs to a d 0 epsilon. This implies W belongs to a 0 epsilon. Therefore, W belongs to a d0 epsilon implies Z belongs to d0 epsilon such that AZ is equal to W. Okay. Now Z plus X belongs to dx epsilon because dz belongs to d0 epsilon. Okay. Because if we subtract x, therefore norm of z plus x minus x is equal to norm of z. Norm of z is less than epsilon. Therefore, z plus x minus x norm of z plus x minus x is less than epsilon means this z plus x is in dx epsilon. Now W equal to AZ plus AX minus AX, that is A of Z plus X minus AX, that belongs to A dx epsilon minus AX. Okay, therefore A dx epsilon minus AX is equal to A d0 epsilon. There is no need to write all these things. Okay, Therefore, A dx epsilon is equal to A 0 d 0 epsilon plus Ax. That is A dx epsilon is an open set since A 0 epsilon is open. Okay, and Ax belongs to A dx epsilon. So Ax is an interior point of A dx epsilon. Okay, since dx epsilon contained in O, we have A dx epsilon is contained in AO. Therefore, Ax is an interior point of AO. Okay, thus we get if you take any y belongs to AO, y is an interior point of AO. That means AO is open. Therefore, if O is an open set in X, then clearly we get AO is an open set in Y. This implies our result. Okay. Now moving to one corollary, and corollary is called bounded inverse theorem. Let A belongs to L of xy, B on to and 1 to 1. Then there exists A inverse from L of y to x. Since A is a bijective linear map from x to y, A inverse from y to x is also linear. And as A is an open set, we also get A inverse is also continuous. Therefore, A inverse is bounded. Now there is a remark, let x and y be Banach spaces A from x to y be a bijection, then A is a linear isomorphism between the spaces x and y. In other words, A can be considered as identity map between x and y. Okay, since A is bounded, there exists a constancy such that we can write this like this because you can consider this as identity map. Okay, therefore, norm of some I x y is less than or equal to C into norm of x. For all x belongs to x, norm of I x is I itself. Now, by bounded inverse theorem, we get there exists a constant C1 such that uh, by bounded inverse theorem, A inverse also uh, bounded. That means A inverse means here I inverse, that is a I. Therefore, we get the x is constant C1 such that norm of x less than or equal to C1 into norm of x. That means A is topologically isomorphism, that is a homeomorphism. Now moving to the next corollary, proof was already we have discussed. Let x and y be linear space equipped with two norms, norm 1 and norm 2. Assume that x norm 1 and complete normed space. And there exists a constancy such that norm x2 less than or equal to, sorry, norm x2 less than or equal to c into norm of x1 for all x belongs to c. Then the norms norm 1 and norm 2 are equivalent. Now for proving this, we assume that this as capital X and this as capital Y, and define an identity map from from x to x. Okay, from the definition, we get norm of x2 less than or equal to norm of x1. And by bounded inverse theorem, I inverse from y to x, we get direct a constant c1 such that norm of x1 less than or equal to c1 into norm of x2. Thus, we get there exists a constant uh, norm of x2 less than or equal to c into norm of x1. Also, we get norm of x1 less than or equal to c1 into norm of x2. This implies norm 1 and norm 2 are equivalent. That's all for today's class. In the next section, next class we will discuss next section, and it is called closed graph theorem. Okay.